Hey everyone, so as you know, I've been playing lots of arenas. I've played exactly 1400 arenas recently, and I decided to do a tier guide on what specs perform the best in arenas at the moment. Now, we have all the specs here. I'll be going over the DPS first, and then the healers and tanks at the end. Let us start with the Havoc Demon Hunter. Easily an A tier, quite a solid spec, does lots of damage, especially with on the hunt. Nothing too crazy, but yeah, definitely deserves the A tier. Now the Frost Death Knight, really solid, definitely an S tier. DKs are being DKs. Damage, control, range, kick. Now I don't know where to place Unholy. They're quite similar, Frost and Unholy, but I will place Unholy in A tier just because it takes time to ramp up the damage, and with how fast the gameplay is now, Frost simply perform better in arenas. Okay, so we're obviously going to skip the tanks for now. Then, Balanced Druids, easily the best caster at the moment in my opinion. An S tier easily, Bear form, instant 15k star surges. Really solid to play. Now Feral is quite decent. I will be placing it in A tier. I haven't seen that many Ferals in 1400 games. You do need to know what you're doing with the Ferals, with the combo points, with the survivability and CC. They do have really good potential. Okay, next up is the Beastmaster Hunter. I will be placing them in the B tier. I haven't seen many in arenas. They are really reliant on their pets, and their marksmanship and survival counterparts are simply much better in arenas, from what I've seen anyway. Hunters, definitely S tier. Actually, Hunters, Balanced Druids and Sub-Rogues, probably the top 3 Flavor of the Month specs, at least in my opinion. They're just really busted, really strong to play with. So yeah, Survival Hunters are pretty decent. I'm not sure whether I should place them between... I'll place them between A and B. I will be placing them on B just because they are a melee hunter spec and they are reliant on their pet. So just for that they go on the B tier, but otherwise they are quite solid. Now Arcane Mages, they've had a really good start. I've seen way more of Arcane Mages at the beginning. They have a really good one-shot potential, but they don't have enough for the S tier. In fact, the Fire spec is definitely an S tier. They do everything that Arcane does, but better, more CC, a better one-shot potential with combustion, and again something that Frost lacks. Of course, being Frost, it does have some good CC with polymorphs, roots, stuns, permaslows. Okay, the Windwalker Monk is the spec I play, is my main at the moment. Definitely an S tier. The damage is unrivaled at the moment. Really strong, really solid. I love playing it. They are quite squishy though, so yeah, there's that. But otherwise, I really like how the Windwalker plays out right now. Now Retribution Paladins, they became much better with gear. Really good burst potential. The one-shots are incredibly strong, obviously off healing and helping the team as well. Shadow Priests, I think ever since the changes to the Priest, they have been really solid. Shadow Priests are definitely really good. I love playing with Shadow Priests personally actually. Really good support, good damage, good off healing. Quite a balanced spec all round. Now next up is the Assassination Rogues. Well, Rogues, unfortunately I have to place them on B tier. Both actually Assassination and Outlaw, just because I haven't seen many. I've only seen one of each. They have been decent, but of course being Rogues, all they need is just one kidney shot, one good blind, and you're good to go. But the real kings of the arena are of course Sub-Rogues. Rogues have never been bad. Okay, Elemental Shamans, just like the Shadow Priest actually, really solid, good burst potential. I've been one-shotted by Elemental Shamans quite a few times. Just a really solid spec for arenas to play with quite annoying to play against. They have lots of off healing. Enhancement though, I will be placing on A tier. They're obviously the same class as the elementals, so they do similar stuff, but being a melee, it's sometimes a hindrance. But on high levels of play, they can definitely be S tier. I've seen, for example, Bajira play Turbo with 24-2500. Destruction Warlocks, definitely A tier, are really a solid representative of the A tier. Chaos Bolts are good, the portals, the gates, survivability decent, but of course Affliction Warlocks are the better. Spec with Unstable Affliction and the dots. It's incredibly hard to dispel Unstable Affliction for the healers. It deals instantly like 25% of their health and damage. Hence, Affliction, most of the time they will be top damage dealers in arenas. Now, Demonology. Yeah, Demonology, I've only seen one Demonology Warlock, and actually we lost, that was in 2s, we lost that match. He was a decent Warlock, infinite stance from the Demon Pets, infinite slows, but just lacks the pressure overall as Chaos Bolts from Destruction and the dots from Affliction. Now arms, Warriors are in a good place, I would say. Lots of utility for the team, really solid arms. Fury on the other hand, I would say is probably the worst DPS spec in the game at the moment, at least in my opinion. As you can see, I've placed Terminology Warlocks as the worst spellcaster and Fury as the worst melee. They just don't have the damage as arms and other specs provide. Now off to the healers, starting with the Restoration Druid. Really solid, especially in 2s, can be really strong. A good druid will be cloning, will be kiting for days, putting those hot tub, dispelling. Extremely difficult and annoying to play against, but don't have quite the survivability of Holy Paladins and Shamans and Priests. Holy Paladins are probably the best healers at the moment, really strong. You'll see lots of comps, Holy Paladin with 2 casters, especially Warlock and Shadow Priest. But my personal favourite is the Disciplined Priest. I just like the way they play out, really nice to have them on the team. Holy Priests, they are actually decent. I've played with priests, with Holy Priests, I've played against Holy Priests. They can do really well for themselves. Their stuns are pretty effective, but I will be placing them in B tier just because I think the other 3 healers I've already mentioned outperform them. Mistweaver. Yeah, Mistweaver is in a pretty dire state. I'm not sure which spec is worse, Mistweaver or Fury Warriors. Mistweavers only have the life cocoon, and then that's it, they're dead. Really in a bad spot, probably will be buffed at some point, but we have, as it stands, they are absolutely the worst healer. I've only seen maybe 10 in 1400 matches. Restoration Shamans on the other hand, probably the most annoying healer to play against. They can kite for days, running around the pillar, topping themselves off. Impossible to catch them, impossible to bring them low. A really solid spec. Okay, so now off to the tanks. Oof, well, the tanks, first of all, Protection Paladins definitely deserve a place on the S tier. It's a 2 bottom class, but essentially they do so much healing that it out-heals the healers in arenas, and the damage, the immunity with bubbles is extremely strong, extremely effective and annoying to play against. Now the other tanks, I've only seen one Vengeance Demon Hunter in arena. It didn't do much. So for the remaining tanks, I will be speaking from Battleground perspective. A lot of the time you'll see, especially in rated RBGs, so I've been playing rated Battlegrounds, you'll see the 1-3-6, so 1 tank, 3 healers and 6 DPS. And in that scenario, actually, the other tanks can be placed in B tier as somewhat useful, but otherwise of course I'll be placing them in C tier, just because they don't provide nearly as much as the other specs in arenas. So there you have it. This was my take on all the specs in arenas so far for the 9.0 season. As I said, I have been playing 1400 games up to 2.2 kmmr, and that's what I've experienced. Of course it might be different for you, but if you're maybe planning to make an ult or thinking which specs go well with each other, obviously there's some specs that can be better when placed, just have a better synergy. I will be making a video about various comps in the near future, but for today this is all. Hope you like this. Drop me a like and comment below what you think about this tier list. Consider subscribing for more stuff to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.